The Mandalorian Season 2 finale, Chapter 16, really touched a lot of people. After the episode ended, there were tons of people crying. Star Wars Theory was crying. I went into his stream and saw him get very emotional. There were people all over social media just bawling because it was a very powerful finale to the series. Not just the return of Luke Skywalker, but also seeing him in action was great. And then, seeing the way they did that with the reverse aging technology and everything was just beautiful. But also having seen Mandalorian, having seen Din give up Grogu to the Jedi. I mean, he knew he was going to have to do it at some point. He knew that it was inevitable. He knew that Grogu was not his son, but he certainly treated him like a son, and they bonded as Mando took care of him for the first 2 seasons of this program. So, the reason as to why that episode resonated so much with me, that's what this video is going to be about. I want to talk about why this is so powerful. And it is personal, and it is a bit of a bias, okay? There is a bias here, and I'm more than willing to admit it to you because all of us have biases in some form or another, and if we hide that, then, well, I tend to be unbiased with a lot of things. Like sports, for example. I'm very unbiased there. But there are certain things in life that I am biased about, and the reality is that Luke Skywalker has always been my favorite fictional character since I was a little kid. I mean, I watched Star Wars when I was 5 years old. I actually watched Return of the Jedi first. Then I saw Empire, and then the original Star Wars A New Hope after. So I saw them in reverse order. And then, of course, as the years went by, I would watch them 4, 5, 6. Then when the prequels came out, I watched those, and you know how it is. But Luke Skywalker, to me, was always the true main character of this saga. Although George Lucas likes to retcon things to it being the Anakin story, and I guess it wound up being that if you add in the prequels, it really, to me, was always the story of the farm boy Luke coming up and wanting to be a hero and accomplishing that. The optimistic farm boy who would become a Jedi Knight and eventually redeem his father. And it was that message of hope, that message of optimism that really resonated with me when I was younger. And Return of the Jedi was always a movie that I can go back and watch. And Empire, all of them. But I mean, specifically Jedi was a movie I can go back and watch and really feel good about, especially with the ending and what happens. It's a feel-good ending, the true end of the saga. And it's because of my attachment to Luke Skywalker, because of my love for Luke Skywalker, the character, that I was very much anticipating the sequel trilogy. I mean, I remember seeing Force Awakens in theaters, and when the movie ended, when you see Rey passing off the lightsaber to Luke, or she's about to pass it off on that cliff, and then the movie ends, I remember being frozen in that theater, just staring. I was just staring at the screen. I didn't even move during the credit roll because it really did hit me that powerfully. It was a powerful, powerful scene, and I was so looking forward to the sequel trilogy after that because I knew that with the upcoming episodes, we would see Luke Skywalker back in action. We'd see the hero try to save the galaxy, and even if he went down, even if he failed, he would still try. And that's not exactly what we got. I mean, we got something like that, but it wasn't exactly what we got, especially when you talk about Rise of Skywalker. It's no secret that I have been very critical of Last Jedi, and as time has gone by, I've come to not hate the film as much as I used to, but I still am never going to agree with the choices Rian Johnson made. Rian Johnson is a great filmmaker. He's made good movies, but he's bad for Star Wars. He's bad as a sequel maker. At least it's something that's not his own stuff. And he doesn't understand Luke Skywalker, the character. I don't think he does. I don't think he really understands what Luke represented and what Luke meant to a lot of people. And I think that Last Jedi was ultimately a big misfire. I think he thought that his decisions and choices to make Luke the way he was would be something that the audience would enjoy. But only some people did. Not everyone, but some people did, for sure. Some people didn't. But it was this sort of different Luke in Last Jedi that really turned a lot of people off to the sequel trilogy because it wasn't the Luke that we all had remembered. And people change, but he became a different character almost. And even Mark Hamill himself was very critical of that choice. I mean, if you remember, Mark Hamill himself was going around calling him Jake Skywalker, saying that Luke Skywalker would never do this. This is not what a Jedi would do. You know? And nobody knows more about playing Luke than Luke. You know? I mean, obviously, Rian Johnson might have knowledge on Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. He says he's a fan. But Luke Skywalker has existed since 1977. And Rian Johnson should have, in my opinion, respected that. But he went in his own direction. It's whatever. It's done. There's no point in whining about it now. But when we saw Luke in Mandalorian, when we saw him brandish the green lightsaber, when we saw him go in there and cut through the Dark Troopers with ease and show them the real power of the Force and show that Luke Skywalker is not just a level above, several levels above other Jedi. That at this point in the timeline, Luke Skywalker is the most powerful Jedi of all time and also the wisest one, and one who wants to do good in the galaxy. He turned his father good. He only has good intentions, and he wants to train Grogu and make him understand his powers and at some point become a great warrior like Yoda was and like Luke was. And we saw that here. And we saw Luke from Return of the Jedi. We saw the Luke Skywalker that we truly remembered. And I've talked about in the past how the one scene that got me in, and maybe it is nostalgia, I'm not going to deny that, but the one scene in Rise of Skywalker that did get me was the scene with Carrie Fisher, with the Luke and Leia training flashback, and the Carrie Fisher, young Carrie Fisher and young Mark Hamill, the way they looked at the end of Return of the Jedi, with that younger look. You know, it was... I love Return of the Jedi, dude. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. And seeing this Luke back was powerful. I mean, it was the Star Wars that we all kind of love. Like, it was badass. It was emotional. It was a story of father and son. In this case, it was not literally father and son, but it was Mando and Grogu. And he has to give up his child to the new Jedi Order, which is what the Jedi did in the past. And it was a very powerful ending, and one that folks were speculating on it, right? I made a video saying I didn't think we were going to see it because it's hard to modulate young Luke's voice, but they were able to do it with whatever technology they have, and I thought it was effective, and it was powerful. And seeing Luke there, and then when they showed R2, it was like, damn, like Luke and R2 together. This is what we wanted. This is all Star Wars fans wanted, is just to see them together. And seeing them there, like I'm doing this video right now and I have a smile on my face because it hit me. This really hit me. And I haven't been this moved with Star Wars since The Force Awakens with the Han and Leia and Luke stuff, because the truth is that it's the characters we grew up with that we are closest attached to. Not the new characters. They did not do a good job of getting us to love Rey, Finn, and Poe. They just didn't do a good job of it. They could have, but they didn't. I don't care about those characters like I care about the old characters. And so this trilogy should have been a continuation of that, the sequel trilogy, but it wasn't. And that's why on Twitter I wrote that the sequel trilogy can burn, and people got mad at that. It's like, no, you can like whatever you want. If you like these movies, go for it. It's just, I felt The Mandalorian captured Luke Skywalker the way that I always wanted to see him captured. The way that I had always wanted to see this grand, wise Jedi who became what his father could not. The true greatest Jedi in the galaxy. But on his journey to becoming that, he redeemed his father. And that's a beautiful story if you ask me. And Mandalorian Season 2 finale was a beautiful story. So to me, that's why that scene meant so much to me. I wanted to make that video and see if maybe anybody else felt that way. I know some people did. You know, I know we have different age ranges here. Some people grew up with the prequel. Some did grow up with the original trilogy. Some love Luke and some love other characters. You know, you could love whoever you want. But Luke, to me, is a very special character. And the Luke Skywalker from the old trilogy is my favorite character in fiction. Literally, like, that's my favorite character. And we saw him one more time at the end of Mandalorian, and it really hit me, and it was very powerful. With that being said, I'll bring this video to a close. Thank you for watching. It means a lot to me, as always, for being a viewer of World of Geekdom. And 2020 has been hard, but this episode of Mandalorian really made the end of 2020, at least on the entertainment side of things, a little bit easier. Things are going to get better. And I say that a lot in my speakdoms, but I do mean it. Things do get better. So if you're out there and you're having a rough time, just try to be a little optimistic, because you never know what awaits you around the corner. I'll talk to you soon.